Welcome back, everybody. Got another dumb video here for you, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back to the joint today, where I am smoking a little bit of Gawith Hogarth Broken Scotch Flake out of the jar here. This is the next tobacco that I am planning on finishing. This stuff here is pretty good. It's I don't know, it's not been one that's gotten a lot of traction for me. It's not that it's bad, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of not my thing. But it's definitely enjoyable. It's by no means a DNF tobacco. This is a great tobacco. It's just not my can of beans. But today, we are not here to talk about tobaccos at all. Simply to mention the fact that this happens to be the next one on the list that I'm trying to put on the chopping block to get out of here. What I really wanted to talk about today was 3D printing. Now, aside from YouTube, I've got a couple of hobbies. But one of the biggest hobbies is 3D printing. And why I'm talking about 3D printing is because really and truly, 3D printing has kind of sort of changed my life. It's changed the way that I live, and it's changed it for the better. Just simply for the fact that, you know, with a $300 3D printer and about $50 worth of filament, I can make all kinds of stuff that's useful. You know, some people think, well, a 3D printer is just for knickknacks and statuettes and little Dungeons and Dragons figures, and I'm here to tell you that's not even close to the case. And what I'm going to do in this video is just show you some of the things that I use on a daily basis that are 3D printed, just to kind of prove to you that 3D printing has in fact kind of changed the way that I live my life, and in a better way. So the first thing I've already shown you guys is my tobacco tray here. This thing is so amazing, and you might say, well, what about a piece of paper? But there's something so much more, I don't know, there's something so much more satisfying about a hard piece of plastic like this that, you know, I made. And of course I printed it in nice shiny gold. So I've got like 3 or 4 of these around the house that I use all the time. Basically every time I smoke my pipe, I have my tobacco tray with me, which is nice. Again, you can get that on Thingiverse. I loaded it onto Thingiverse. If you happen to have a 3D printer, you can go make one for yourself. The next thing I'm going to show you is it's dirty because I've used the crap out of it since I made it. It's a little pipe stand. I use these all of the time. I also, this is the one that I use, well, I've got this one and another one like it. This is what I use when I'm smoking my pipe if I want to set it down. I also have other pipe stands for my pipes that I 3D printed, which are for storage. They're up there in my desk, and I'll probably hit you guys with some B-roll of that too. They are very, very nice. They hold 3 apiece. You know, what more can I say? They were all in, I probably paid like $5 for all of that. When you can't factor in the plastic, maybe $5, probably not even $5. You know, and if you were to buy those online or something like it online, you'd be paying $20 a pop at a minimum. So, you know, that's another nice thing. The next thing I'm going to show you is an everyday carry item. My wallet right here is 3D printed. It holds about 8 or 9 cards and some cash in the little clippy here, which is pretty nice, and it's very slim, easy to use. I have about 100 of these in every different color because, you know, if I'm feeling kind of military, I use the olive drab green. If I'm feeling brighter, I've got like bright green, I got yellow, I got blue. I got one for basically every day of the week, which is nice. And again, if you're into this and you have a 3D printer, I uploaded this onto Thingiverse. This wasn't my original design, but I've kind of changed it up a little bit, and I've been carrying these for a couple of years now. I'm gonna take a couple of hits off this pipe before we go to the next one though. Alright, next up is another everyday carry item. I carry this pretty much every day with me, and I know that this is going to be somewhat controversial. This is a holster for my LCP2. It's just a little plastic holster that fits right inside the waistband. It works really, really, really well. This is a very, very comfortable holster. It kind of holds the pistol in here. It's got a little hole here where the slide release kind of locks in, keys in. I know the lighting in here is terrible. Sue me. I don't get paid for this. But this is a amazing thing. Ever since I printed this, I have been wearing it pretty much every day. Also, put this on Thingiverse. You can download this and print this. If you happen to have an LCP2 and you want to carry it, and you want an inside the waistband holster for free, well, not for free, but you know, for the price of whatever filament it takes, you can print one of these and you can have one for yourself. Next on the list is, I've got this little containers here, right? And I've got about 2 or 3 of these. I keep one in my bag. I keep some like Tylenol and ibuprofen in it, and allergy medicine. This one's got some other random stuff in it. I've got one that is just a slip-on top, and I've got one that's a threaded. This one happens to be a slip-on top. These things are super handy. Like I said, the other one was a slip top. This one is a twist-on. So you just twist it on, twist it off. I can always have ibuprofen and Tylenol and allergy medicine with me at all times in my nice little 3D printed container. And this guy here, it's got a whole bunch of nice little patterning to it, which is kind of cool. So, you know, I got that going for me. Alright, the next thing I'm going to show you is an iPad stand that I made because I just wanted to have something to stand my iPad in. I've got 2 different versions. The one I'm going to show you does not have a power cord in it, right? So I've got one that has a power cord. That way when you stand the iPad in it, it actually will like plug in the power cord, which is very nice. Like I sit my iPad beside my bed. That way I use this as my alarm clock and it keeps it nice and charged. This one is my iPad stand for the office. The other thing that I did with these is you'll notice it's got little openings in the bottom that shoot out the front. But what that does is it takes, if you want to listen to something or you're like FaceTiming someone, the sound, instead of coming out the bottom, it reroutes it out the front of the iPad stand to where you can hear better. And I think that the microphone is actually down here too. So it helps that kind of thing. I don't use it a lot most of the time, but I mean, if you needed to listen to someone or FaceTime someone, this is a very handy little tool. Again, if you got a 3D printer, I put this on Thingiverse and you have an iPad. It works for iPad minis, and I've got mine in this kind of chunky case. It works for any of the iPads that actually have speakers on the bottom. It also fits my iPhone. My iPhone has speakers on the bottom, and the spacing is the same. So you can actually use it for that too. Although it's a little bit, it's a little bit large, but whatever. It works. It stands it up, holds it in place if you wanted to sit it there. I can also put my phone in my one in the bedroom and charge it if I wanted to. Alright, for the next couple of things, we got to take it on the road here because I've got these 2 signs on the door to my office. One says, "Do not dumb here, not dumb area." That is actually a real rule in my office. If you come into my office, please do not dumb. This is a not dumb area. The other one is this one here. It says, "Warning, self-described genius at work." Well, I mean, not necessarily self-described per se, but another thing that I have 3D printed around my house is I have a whole bunch of smart light bulbs or Wi-Fi enabled light bulbs in various places, and so I don't want people actuating the switch because it's controlled with who. I don't want to say her name because she'll come on and just invade my video, and I don't need that. But what I will show you is the switches themselves. So what I got is some switch covers, just to keep people from futzing around with my switches. It's got a hole in the top and the bottom. That way if you actually had to, you could, you know, poke something in here and, you know, turn the light switch on and off. I've got more out here because up there in my little hanging down light fixtures, whatever those are called, they have Wi-Fi bulbs. And I have those set to change colors at a certain time, or to turn off or to turn on automatically at a certain time of the day, which is very handy. So it's yet another thing that has made my life better. All right, so what we have right here is a watch box. So this is one of my own custom creations. So you just take your watch, you put it on the little thing, and you slide it in there. And this thing is a very tough, thick box, and I put magnets in the lid so that when you close it, it snaps shut, and that sucker is not coming open. All right, next up we have a coin separator. You know, it's kind of dumb, but you get loose change, it's good to, you know, be able to put it in something. It's got little denominations, so you know how much is in there, which is kind of nice. And of course, the can of whoop ass. I haven't had to open it up yet, but who knows, maybe in the future. Alright, so as you may or may not have seen in a previous video, I modeled and 3D printed this little guy to hold the pop filter in front of my microphone. That works out pretty good. But the other thing I've done is I 3D modeled this little piece to thread onto the end of just a boom microphone stand. That way I can mount my GoPro or my camera to this boom stand, which is also quite nice. Again, you know, I could have bought one of those, but I know how to model stuff and I have a 3D printer, so I just made one for basically free. Alright guys, here's one more thing. I've got this clock that you may or may not have noticed in my videos, but it's hand wound. And sometimes if you've ever had one of these clocks, you've probably noticed that you sit here and you crank and you crank and you crank and your forearm gets really, really sore, just whatever. So I made this little crank handle and glued the key into it. That way I can crank the clock nice and easy. Alright guys, here's another one. This one is kind of in the dining room area, but it's a little toothpick holder. Just like the one you'd see at the restaurant. You just kind of roll the thing and, well, I got it backwards. You roll the thing and a toothpick falls out, just like you'd see at the restaurant. So we're gonna keep on trucking over here into the kitchen to a problem that I have solved that a lot of you probably didn't even realize you had. And that is sink stoppers. So when it comes to your sink stoppers, these dudes are always just like hanging out or down in the sink. They're up over here, they're up over here, or down there, right? So what I've done is I've modeled and printed sink stopper holders, one for each sink. Again, with a lot of these things that I have made myself, you can find me on Thingiverse and you can print these. You can download these and print them absolutely free. It's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. We're still in the kitchen for the next thing. We have these salt and pepper grinders that my wife had. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, something about salt and pepper grinders is that they usually leave a mess. Meaning that like salt and pepper just kind of falls out once you're done. And they're never in the same place. So I use my 3D printer to solve this problem by doing this. I've got this nice little 3D printed salt and pepper shaker, salt and pepper grinder holder. And as you can see, any salt or pepper that happens to fall out of the bottom of the grinder, it gets caught. And it's easy to just pick up both of them and come over here to the table and set them down. Or if you want to take them over to the stove, you pick them up, take them over to the stove, and boom. All right, guys. Next up, we're in the bathroom. Yes, I'm sitting on the toilet. But no, I'm not taking a dump, I promise. What I have made for this bathroom is this. This is a toilet paper roller, or a toilet paper holder, that also has a shelf. That way, if you're sitting here taking a dump and you want to watch something on YouTube, you just get your phone and you set it right there, and boom. Okay, so here we are. We're in my shower. There are two 3D printed things in here. First things first is, I'm standing here, I'm taking a shower, getting all clean, lathered up and lathered off. And what I like to do when I'm in the shower is I like to stick my phone. I like to stick my phone up here. Oh, the light's terrible. The light's terrible. I can't get it. I like to stick my phone up there and watch some YouTube while I'm in the shower. I have another one right here. So what it is, there's a magnet in here, and I've got one of these cases that has a metal back. That way I just stick it in there, and boom, I'm in business when I do my business. So the next thing that's in the shower is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen these, and this is pretty dirty because it's been in my shower, these Duke's big bars of soap. Well, the problem I have with these is that if you just sit it there, it gets all like gross and gooey on the bottom. So I made this little soap tray. It's got holes in it. It's sloped. That way the water drips off the soap and out, and it works really good. And as you can see, I just used this morning. It's already pretty much dried out in here. All right, guys, so here we are. I'm about to show you something very cool. Very, very cool. So one thing that I've always thought about Gibson guitars, I don't know if you're guitar people or not, but the tuning pegs are all like this kind of pearlish off-white stuff, and I always thought, that looks like it should glow in the dark. So what I've done, these tuning pegs I modeled and 3D printed in glow-in-the-dark filaments. So you can actually charge these up and they will glow in the dark. So I've got those on my Les Paul and on my SG. So this guitar here, I don't have glow-in-the-dark tuning pegs. However, this sat in the window of a pawn shop forever. And when I bought it, there's a video on my channel about that. The knobs were absolutely just crap, and the pickup rings were crap too. So what I did is I modeled and printed new knobs and new pickup rings. And actually they look better because the ones that were on here were, well, the knobs were crappy. The pickup rings were kind of this white plastic, but they'd been faded in the sun after sitting in the window for so long. They're really brittle and kind of gross looking. So I printed them in black and basically just blacked out this whole guitar, which is kind of cool. Something that you've probably seen in a lot of my older videos from when I was shooting down here is this little shield and sword thing. Found this at the pawn shop and it was so cool. I had to have it. But it didn't have anything here on the shield. So what I did is I 3D printed my initials, JS. Hot glued them on there and boom. Alright, so I think we're getting towards the end, but we're down here actually at the 3D printer. And so the way this used to work is I'd put the filament roll up here, and then you'd just change it out when it's done. But what instead I did is I got a piece of conduit, and then I made some brackets to hang to the wall. That way I can hang like 3 or 4 spools of filament up there all at once. And then, for quick color changes, it makes things really, really simple. All right, we're getting back to some maybe more controversial type stuff, but we're here at the gun safe where I've got a bunch of pistol mounts. So when I keep my pistols in here, these are magnetic. That way I can just grab it, stick it back in there, or grab it, stick it back to that guy. I also have one of these in my pickup, which is nice. I've also made this flashlight holder. This is a key mod flashlight holder that mounts up to my AR over there. that holds a flashlight, which is kind of cool. I've also got some custom hand grips that I made on my 3D printer. I've made 4 grips for this before. Yeah, and here's another one. Here's what the hand grip looks like. Let me come over here where I can get some light. Here's what the hand grip looks like. Let's go this way. When it's not on there. So you have to get the hardware to mount it to the rifle, but I mean, these work well. That thing, if you shoot a bunch, it gets really hot, hard to hold on to, and these work pretty good, so you know, there's that. So the next thing I have, which is also for my rifles, or actually for my AR, I don't want to grab a magazine, but I'll show it to you anyway here. So what we have is basically a speed loader. So you stick your magazine right here in this little slot, and you load up all your rounds in there, and then you just push the plunger in, and it pushes all the rounds into the magazine. It works pretty spectacularly, honestly. So I think maybe I got 1 or 2 more things. Oh well, here's something. I keep a ton of these on hand. I've got a drawer here in my little toolbox that I just keep these. What these are is cable management, right? They're just little clippies. And I don't really see any right now, but like if you need to run a cable or something and you want to tie it down, I use these on the deck for the power for the TV that I got out there. Those are very handy. I've used a ton of those. I also have, because you don't need them often, but when you do need them, you need them. These little shelf pegs for shelves. You stick it in and it holds the shelf in your furniture. I just keep these because you just never know. It's cheap and easy for me to print them, so I just keep them on hand. Alright, we're back in the kitchen, and I think I'm going to cut it after this. There's so much more stuff, but I'm just kind of trying to go over the practical stuff. Chip clips. My kids were constantly breaking chip clips. They'd break them, or they'd lose them, and then it's a pain in the neck because who thinks, oh, I need to put some chip clips on my shopping list when I go to the store? Nobody thinks that. So what did I do? I downloaded a chip clip file and I printed a crap load of them. And so now we have never been short of chip clips since. Well, guys, there's a little bit of broken Scotch flake left in the bowl, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish that. And I think as far as functional, let me adjust this camera a little bit. As far as functional 3D print type stuff, that hits a lot of it. I mean, there's probably more. Like, this is kind of a dumb little thing. This is the Glocktopus. It's got articulated arms, and it's an octopus that's holding a bunch of Glocks, which everybody could use a Glocktopus in their life. Right? Anyway, there's a bunch of other stuff over there. The portal gun. Those aren't practical though. They're just kind of cool to look at. But that's about it for this video. That's kind of what I wanted to showcase here. Is just how practical having a 3D printer really can be. And honestly, they're so inexpensive. Micro Center, I think right now, is running a sale where you can get an Ender 3 for $100. $100, and then it opens you up to the whole world of possibility of just printing whatever you want, pretty much. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, till next time, right here in the joint, we will see you guys later.